Good evening. We're going to call this regularly scheduled meeting of the Woburn Zoning Board of Appeals to order. I'd like to remind everyone in the audience that this hearing is being videotaped and audio taped, so please keep that in mind if you decide to approach the rail to address the board. To begin our hearing, I'd ask that you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item on the agenda this evening is a continuation from previous hearings. This is the petition of John Vining, 160 Montvale Ave, seeking a special permit to raise and replace a two-family home at that address. Mr. Vining? Welcome back.
Very much. Hi, everybody. I'll just take a moment. I'm John Vining, representing myself. I just want to take a moment to just recap the first and second hearing.
Oh, you know what? I apologize. We have a really long hearing, and I have a very pressing personal matter that I need to...
Oh, I can be as fast as you need me
I'm
to
going to
be.
ask you to not, because we're all quite familiar. We've all been there. We've all...
Excellent.
So if you could just proceed and focus on the new plans.
Yeah, so I have, I've provided updated architectural drawings that answer the question regarding height calculations that were requested. I have demonstrated on the architectural drawings that we meet the height requirement as well as the number of stories. The plot plans have also been updated. I asked the surveyor to separate the existing plot plan from the proposed, just so that it's cleaner, so that it could be more legible. The updated plot plans include the dimensional table of all the existing conditions, including the existing average grade. And the proposed plot plan has an updated dimensional table that now includes the proposed average grade, and it includes the building height calculations that were requested, as well as documenting parking that was asked for, and then lastly, the dimension for the driveway width was asked for. The remaining two documents that I submitted were for our civil engineer, in which he provided drainage calculations and designed a water retention system for us. Those civil drawings basically include all the rainwater to be collected into a retention system. We did a reduction in the driveway square footage as well, and put in some French drains. So basically what we've done is we've decreased the amount of impervious surface, and we have made sure that any water runoff stays on the property and doesn't go elsewhere.
All right. Can you, what you did to reduce the impervious surface on the driveway?
Yes. On the civil drawings, on page 2, it shows the existing conditions. And then on page 3, it shows the proposed driveway. The driveway size was reduced, and that driveway is also documented on the plot plan, but there is a area breakdown chart included on page 3 of the civil drawings that show the math that indicates the existing impervious surfaces for the structures, which we increased. It shows the existing driveway square footage that decreased. We've also increased grass and lawn area, and the total amount of decreased impervious area is indicated on that chart, that we've reduced the amount of impervious surface by 880 square feet.
My second question relates to the issue of whether the ground level basements are a story. And I thought I saw a reference to heights.
Yes.
I can't even, I'm having a really hard time reading it even.
I can read that for you. So on the proposed plot plan, and that's the document that has the red ink showing the proposed structures. So on this proposed plot plan, we show the spot grades around the perimeter of the structure. And at the top of that page, he indicates the math for the proposed average grade. So he lists those numbers. And then what he did was he included a chart in the upper left hand, and I realize the font is a little bit small, but the building height is based upon average grade. And based on the new average grade calculations, as well as our finished cellar floor and cellar ceiling, both structures have a cellar and not a basement. So the front structure, we have, he's indicated on a chart here that the cellar has, I'm also getting used to new progressives. The definition of a cellar is such that it's a portion of a building, partly underground, which has less than 1/2 of its height, measured from the finished floor to the finished ceiling, above the average grade of the adjoining ground. And a cellar is not considered a story. So the height calculation charts that he includes on the plot plan shows that each structure has a cellar and not a basement, and that calculation is based on the average grade, which is highlighted in that math on the top of the page.
All right, so I still can actually read the numbers.
I can
On
tell
the
you what the
table?
numbers are, if you want.
Sure. Well,
So-
before you get there, let me ask you, so is there any reflection of what, so because you have, essentially two buildings in different locations.
Correct.
Do you have any understanding of how, who did the calculations, the surveyor or the PE?
They worked side by side because the civil engineer, in doing his drainage calculations, needed to make sure that the grade was such that we could collect rainwater to be put into the mitigation system. So the spot grades on the civil drawings match the spot grades on the plot plan. So the average grade is based upon those spots around the entire structure, not separating the
All
front.
right, that was my question. So it's your understanding that the calculations for the ground level of each structure are based on an average of all of them, as opposed to the points that are actually relate to the particular structure?
Correct. It's based upon the entire, the average grade of a singular structure, and that's the way that it is calculated.
All
I
right,
can actually
that
highlight-
seems a little odd to me because, as we know, there's a change in elevation on this grade. So I have to wonder if by using all of the elevations across the entire site, instead of the elevations of the actual building where the ground floor is located, if that's really the most accurate way to do it.
Yeah, it's one structure. It's one building.
Well, it's Unit A and Unit B, right?
As far as an actual address for a mailing address, yeah, that's what we're calling it.
Okay, then my next question relates to the parking. And I might have misunderstood. I thought, so have you changed the parking from last time?
You know, when we spoke last time, I had anticipated where I thought vehicles or guest vehicles would park. And we had a conversation about the utility easement that was there. We weren't sure if parking was allowed on there. So what we had done is, in looking at the zoning bylaw, it states that the number of off-street parking spaces that are required for a single or a two-family home is 2 per dwelling unit. So in working with my surveyor, what he has done is he has shown on the proposed plot plan, he's identified the total of 4 parking spots that are required on the property, and those are identified as parking spaces 1, 2, 3, and 4. So those are indicated there on the proposed plot plan.
All right, but this doesn't match what you explained to us at the last hearing. So that's what I meant when I asked if you changed the parking plan. So I want to, because I want to see if I understand this correctly. So spots 1 and 2 that are associated with unit 162A, those are in a garage? All right. Parking spot 3 is also in the garage, in a garage that is associated with unit 162B. And is that a single car garage?
Yeah, it's a little bit tight in that spot, so we have one car inside the garage for 162B, and then to the right of the house on the exterior, we have the second parking spot.
Okay. Did you ever check the easement to see if parking, I'm going to assume that you're not supposed to put anything on top of the easement that would impede whoever the beneficial owner of the easement is access, but I don't know that to be true. Did you check?
I reached out to Lindsay and the DPW. They never got back to me, but it didn't matter because we've completely moved the driveway away from the easement, so that's only grass there. There's no parking on the easement at all.
Okay, but what are you going to do when the people who live in 162A and 162B have a party and people want to park there? Where are they going to park? Are they going to park on Montvale Ave?
I don't know, when people have big parties and people park at various locations. So we have a number of areas here. We have a lot of square footage for this driveway where there can be cars to park, but it's not a requirement for us to show guest parking. We're only required to show 2 parking spaces to home. But realistically, to answer your question directly, along 162A on that proposed plot plan, you can see on the front right corner a black number that says X109.0. That's a spot grade. So there could be cars that could park there along that house, and then along the right side of the driveway, you can see that there are ample parking spaces. It could be a handful of parking spaces along the right-hand side.
All right, and we're still, and you did not make any changes to the interior configuration of the structures,
Correct.
did you? Okay. So the sheets A1 through A7,
Yes.
there aren't any different versions of that?
Correct. What I did on these architectural drawings is, the first thing I did was put numbers on them in case we needed to refer to them, which I thought was
Always
helpful.
a good idea.
Yeah, so otherwise there were no changes, with the exception of all of the height calculations were included on all of the elevations. And that matches the plot plan as well as the civil drawings.
All right, let me ask, do any members of the board have any questions?
I've got a couple quick ones. The driveway width is 24 feet as you head out.
Yes.
There's a minimum of 12 feet, but it's not shown on your drawings. But the way I'm looking at these drawings, I'm thinking it's going to be a lot wider than 12 feet as you work your way in. Is that correct?
It starts at 24 as you enter it
That
from...
narrows. Does it narrow to less than 12 feet?
It does not, no.
Okay. The chair answered most of my questions. I was going to ask you about the vertical heights, the median height. You know, I get it, you're, building B, you have a basement on that, correct?
No, they're both technically called cellars because they're fully below grade. Yeah.
You're, the first building, you're technically a cellar because it's 1 foot below, correct?
It's more than 50% below grade from the finished cellar floor to the finished cellar ceiling from the front building. The back building is completely below grade. Yeah.
So I had 106.5, and then I had 112, which gives you 5.5 feet, correct?
That's correct. So,
And in the law is 6 feet, or 6.5, is it?
no, it's 5.5 feet from, the cellar floor is 5.5 feet from the average grade. But the ceiling of that cellar is 5 feet above average grade. So it's 5'6" below grade, and it's 5 feet above grade. So it's more than 50% below grade. So it's considered a cellar and not a story.
If you didn't combine them and you were to just do that math independently of each building, would you still meet the
Yes.
median? Okay. And then if you stand on the front lot there and look up by the front stairs to unit number 1 and look up, does the peak of that roof go over 35 feet?
No.
I don't see a, you know, like, again, we've got the median of 31 feet, and then it just looks a lot higher than 31 on the drawings.
Yeah, so
Sheet A2?
sheet A1, well, actually, every sheet with an elevation does show the mathematical calculation from average grade to median roof. And in each of those elevations, you'll see that the front structure is 31 feet, and the rear structure is 24 feet. That's also included on the certified plot plan height calculation table, too.
All these new drawings have new dates on them, correct? September 9th, around then?
Yes, correct.
And your stormwater, the Storm Tech SC 310, I did see one of the questions, where's that going to be? But I didn't see a drawing tonight that it's going to be placed in the back of the lot, correct?
Yeah, so if you go to the civil drawings on sheet number 3,
I got so many sheets here.
I know, I tried to keep
I got it,
this-
thank you.
Yep, so sheet number 3, in the middle of the page, at the top, you can see that there is an arrow and there's a paragraph where it calls out the Storm Tech system. And that's where the system is going to be located in the backyard.
So may I ask you, with regards to that, is all water from unit 1 and 2 going to be diverted down to that?
That's correct. Yeah,
Okay.
so all the rooftop water will be collected from downspouts into a French drain system, and they will all collect into that Storm Tech system.
I think that's all I had.
Can I ask a follow-up to
Thank you.
that? So, again, I'm getting back to the measurements. The zoning code says that the measurements for both a cellar and a basement are based on height measured from the finished floor to finished ceiling above the average grade of the adjoining ground. So I don't see how the average grade of 162B, which is as far away as it could be from the ground floor level of 162A, should be used. It's not adjoining. Those elevations are not adjoining 162A.
It's a singular structure, and in determining average grade, the average grade is based upon
Adjoining ground, according to our code.
So on the plot plan, on the proposed plot plan with the red ink, this structure that is proposed has spot grades located around the entire perimeter of the property. And you can see on this plot plan that those spot grades are indicated with dark black numbers.
Right, I can see that, but the point is, I completely disagree that you can rely on the spot grades for Unit 162B to determine if the height of this ground floor level is a basement or a cellar, because those spot grades do not adjoin the component of the building that we're addressing.
So if you go to the architectural drawings, and if you look at any of the elevations, so go to sheet A1. You can see on the front exterior elevation for 162A, you can see the average grade is indicated, and that's at elevation 112. And that dashed line runs across the entire structure. That average grade is based upon meeting the definition of the building height requirement. The height of a building, the definition states that it's the vertical distance measured from the average ground
Yeah, but that's to
elevation.
measure the roof. I'm not talking about measuring the roof. I'm talking about how the definition of basement and cellar is. Well, in any event, I think I've expressed my disagreement with how these measurements have been done.
I'm happy to explain it further if it's
No,
unclear to anybody.
I don't necessarily agree with your explanation, but Member Parrish, were you all set with your,
All set, thank you.
any other questions from the board?
Yeah, just to go back to this parking and the garages, going to the sheet with the red.
Yes.
So that parking spot number 3, is that interior or exterior?
That's inside a garage.
That's inside the garage, okay. And then my other question was looking through that stormwater operation and maintenance plan. $1,900 annually, who's intending to pay for that?
My understanding is that's the owner of the property. So I'm the one I'm required, as the owner of the property, if I have this system installed on my property, that I'm supposed to make sure that I meet the requirements of that maintenance plan.
Okay, and then when you sell it, does that maintenance plan
Transfers to the next owner, yes.
transfers and has to be paid for?
Yes, correct.
And on that note, on that stormwater operation and maintenance plan, just a quick, it says something about the Salem Registry of Deeds, but I believe it should be Middlesex Registry of Deeds.
I'm not familiar with where you see that. I might have,
On the owner's and applicant's name and responsible for maintenance until transfer, and it says the ongoing responsibility.
oh, that's probably a typo from the engineer where he didn't put Woburn.
Okay. I just want to make sure that it gets recorded in the right registry.
Oh, sure.
That's it for me.
Madam Chair, I just had another question. Forgive me if you've already answered it, but, you know, this is adjoining garage here. I can barely see it, but only one car is going to be parked in there?
That's correct.
What's the other space going to be?
It's actually a two-car garage,
Right,
but because it's snug and we feel like that turn might be tight for two cars, we're showing one car in that spot. And that's why we put the other spot outside.
is that going to be turned into a room or
Nope.
another
It's-
bathroom?
It's,
or-
it's technically a two-car garage. It could be fine for two very small vehicles, but we are assuming that here is that one big car and one small car.
Okay, thank you.
Can you tell me what, because I was actually just trying to find that on the plan. What page of the architectural drawings show the layout of the garage?
So if you go to page,
Madam Chair, I was looking at the plot plan with the red markups.
Yeah, but I wanted to see how it's,
Actual.
how it's referenced in the plans.
so on page sheet A5, in order for me to fit the plans on one page, I couldn't fit the entire plan on one page. That's why I have a little reference marker, a locus plan in the upper right-hand corner. But, so for 162A on the basement plan, you can see that the garage is labeled in the upper right-hand corner. And then just above that, before I put the break line, you can see that we've indicated the location of the garage for 162B.
All right, so sorry.
It can be
I
best
only just-
seen in elevation.
I only
actually.
just now got to page A5.
It can be best seen on the elevation instead of the floor plan, but on that floor plan, on sheet A5, the floor plan to the right, you can see that we've labeled the garage 162A. And then just north of that is the garage for 162B. And it can be seen more clearly on sheet A2.
Yeah, but, so there's no measurements on A5? So, because you essentially had to kind of cut the garage space in half in order to fit both units on A5?
Yes. In order to make it fit, yes, that's correct. Just to make it so that I could fit them both plans on page
Oh, I see.
Okay, so is there anything else in the plans that give us the interior dimensions of that?
Yes, on sheet A6, on the plan on the left-hand side, we have the garage for 162B, in which it's 22 and a half feet wide by 20 feet deep.
All right, great, thank you.
Just had one follow-up, if you would. Earlier question, I'm not sure if this is what you were talking about, but you have a proposed garage in on the red area. Could you just explain that again?
Yes, so the garage for 162B is positioned between the two structures. So where it says proposed garage for unit 162B, that garage, that square represents that garage, and that's what you can see in the architectural drawings
That's number 3, right? The garage.
where parking spot number 3 is. You're right.
Yeah. I'm sorry, you were saying?
Yeah, so that singular garage is a one-story space, and on the architectural drawings on sheet A2, that's where you can see that one-story structure between the buildings.
Okay, so when you say proposed garage, I mean, what is going to happen with it in the meantime? Are you putting a garage in there, or is that just a future consideration?
Nope, that's the garage for this singular structure, yep.
Oh, it's just confusing, because you mark off 4 parking spots, but you did not include that space as a parking area.
That's correct, yeah. So we just figured that it was tight, and so we didn't
Oh,
want
is that the one you were talking about earlier, that you said it's a tight turn? Okay,
the turn was tight, so we didn't want to have it be difficult.
but that's not going to be turned into living space?
Correct.
Thank you.
All right, and the other thing that we had talked about last time. So as designed, each of these units have 6.5 bathrooms. That's the original design too.
Correct, yep.
With one of the full bathrooms up in the finished attic space. And another bath and a shower. Well, it's bath number 1's on the basement in the finished basement, right?
Correct.
All right, any other questions? Let me ask if there's anyone in the audience who cares to be heard in connection with the special permit application at 162 Montvale Ave. All right, no one else wants to be heard. Any discussion or comments from the board? I'll give you my feedback. I'm not prepared to vote in favor of this this evening. I really, I think that I've been asking about the kind of ground level and whether it's a story, from the first time that these plans were presented. And I'm not convinced, because I don't feel, as I've previously stated, that
I'm more than happy to explain it further.
no, I've heard your explanation, and I
Just documented on.
I don't think the way the math was done complies with the definition. So, I also have a lot of concern about the size of the structure, and the fact that as we talked about before, right, this is a very heavily traveled street, and I would need to feel a lot higher comfort level that, everyone has company. I don't know that I've ever seen cars parked on Montvale Ave.
Well, I live right next door, and so right when you turn up Montvale Ave, you can fit about 12 cars right on Montvale, on the turn right between my house and Montvale Lane, which people do often. But this parking driveway has ample guest spots
Sure. I'm just,
off of Montvale.
I'm sharing that's my feedback. I'm just one person on the board. How does the board wish to proceed?
I think it's detrimental to the neighborhood, it might be, but is it substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood? Maybe not. I do think that our commissioner will review all these documents here, probably review for himself the median heights of everything as well, and if he sees a problem with it, I see you maybe coming back here with it. Sure.
I've reviewed everything with Tom Quinn prior to designing the structures, and I've clarified with him. He's guided me into making sure that we understand the difference, but that we understand all of the definitions, especially when it comes to building height and average grade. I have then also worked directly with our professional land surveyor and our civil engineer too, to make sure that all three of us understood exactly how the bylaws work and how the calculations work. So I feel really good that the professionals that I have hired are understanding this, documenting it to meet the bylaws. I do want to highlight the fact that I have a great appreciation for the board. The first hearing, I was missing information. The second hearing, we really dove into the details. And Chair Pinkham, I really respect you because you stood up and said, we have one opportunity to get this right. I want to remind you that I live right next door, and I've designed a house that's going to be built right next to me. I have met with all of the direct abutters, and I've explained to them what the plan was. They've seen the drawings, and they've all put their names and phone numbers in writing saying that we have no objections.
That's good and all, but special permits for us usually are nice, easy, and you've been here for the third month.
Yeah.
So obviously, we've got issues with it. Members of this board might have it. 2 McMansions in an R1 lot is basically what it is. So 6.5 bathrooms per unit, it's 13 bathrooms up there.
I know for one that I have no problem removing an attic bathroom, removing a basement bathroom, if that helps us. I also want to share that this is a 2-family home that I own that's vacant, that I have a mortgage on, These additional drawings that I had to come up with since the last hearing have cost me close to $6,000. And there's hardship territory that we're entering into.
Sure, but hardship's not a consideration in a special permit. That's hardship relating to the real estate is a factor in a variance application, and this is not a variance application. So the board needs to make a finding that this proposed structure is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing structure. And so that's the standard for a special permit. How does the board wish to proceed?
Well, I'll make a motion that the special permit be approved with the condition that, number one, that the building inspector review all of the documents submitted here this evening, especially when it comes to vertical heights. And number two, that the unit, if we may, both units, I know we do this with R1s, but we want to keep it in R2. We don't want this to be a boarding house down the road or something like that. I think we do have some language for that, to keep it as an R2. So that's my motion. And
I'm
there's a-
sorry, it's actually an R1 existing,
Right,
and we would keep it as an R1. I think,
with 2 units?
no, yeah.
It's an
The reason why we're
R1.
here is it's a two-family in an R1.
Yeah, it's a
And we're Replacing
pre-existing.
it with a new one in an R1.
And if I could, I mean, I share the concern about the 13 bathrooms, so, eventually, if the condition would be that, and that may be by default, the building department, that if the DPW determines that it can't handle that many, that you've got to scale it back accordingly. And secondly, that the structure marked as a proposed garage not be converted into living space as a condition.
Are you making a motion to amend his motion? Or is
Yes.
this,
And I'll second his conditions.
With respect to, it's a word I can't read, it's,
Building height?
It does.
If the DPW, if Department of Public Works determines that, the infrastructure can't handle volume from 13 bathrooms, that the number be reduced, and, the proposed garage not be converted into living space.
I'm not clear on number 2. It's a two-family home.
It's a two-family home, but it's two. I'm not a member of the board, Dan.
Well, it's a family home, but they both are like R1s, I
Yeah.
guess.
And that was the
Right.
design intention, to make them appear like.
The only
they're in-
thing I don't want to happen is 100 years down the road, there's 10 families in one of them and 8 families in another one. That's the only thing I don't,
Right.
you know what I mean? This
Totally
really is an
understandable.
R1 district.
Yeah.
So how it's written, I don't mind, and you captured the spirit of it as well, so. So the motion is made by myself, it was seconded by you, Mr. O'Hara?
Yes, with the conditions.
all right, all in favor of the pending motion? Opposed? All right, that passes 4-1. A decision needs to be prepared and filed with the city clerk's office. Building permit will issue until the appeal period runs without anyone filing an appeal. And if you have any questions about the timing, you can reach out to Mr. Vincent.
Thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate it.
The next item on our agenda is the petition of Jaycon Development LLC, in connection with a request for a variance 28 Van Norden Road. The board had received, actually, the clerk had received a request to withdraw.
Leave of withdrawal without prejudice.
And I don't know, has this been circulated?
I don't remember seeing
All right,
it, but I can make
then
a
I will-
motion.
I'll read it into the record. Dear Mr. Vincent, as you know, we represent Jaycon Development in connection with the pending variance application pertaining to 28 Van Norden Road. On behalf of our client, we wish to withdraw without prejudice the pending application as we explore this matter in more detail based on the feedback that we received at the first hearing. If you have any questions or require additional information, please let me know. And it's submitted by Scott Erickson at Perkins and Anktil LLC. Does the board wish to proceed with this request for leave to withdraw?
Just, if there are people in the audience, should they
Oh,
speak on
thank
that?
you
If there's,
for that reminder. Is there anyone here in the audience who attended in order to hear the presentation for 28 Van Norden Road?
Notified 2 of the 3 people who spoke at the last meeting.
Great.
of the intent.
Thank you very much.
well, I'll make a motion to to withdraw without prejudice.
Second.
All in favor of the pending motion? All right. The next item on the agenda is the petition of Peter Spinizzola, trustee, Anchor Realty Trust, 3R Breed Avenue, seeking a variance in connection with reducing the front yard setback from 20 feet to 5 feet in connection with installation of a propane tank at 3R Breed Avenue. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Same circumstances before. We wish to move a propane fuel supply tank. And services 3 Arbreed Avenue. It dates back to the time when both properties were in common ownership, and there was no problem with the location of the propane fuel tank on one side of the line or the other. It's changed hands, and now it's become an issue. We were here before, as Chair Pinkham said, welcome back. You would had granted a variance for a reduction of the side yard setback at the southeasterly corner of the lot, and that was fine until we examined further. It's an area that's paved. This was the former Don Robbins truck parts, and when we got our inspection done and dug up some of the macadam, turns out that that entire corner of the property is what I would charitably call urban fill. Broken concrete, unwashed gravel, unsorted fill materials that was just packed in there. And the Eastern Propane and their preferred engineer said it's not going to hold a 2,000-pound tank. It's going to weigh 8,400 pounds, and it's right at the edge of a 4-foot deep average swale, which abuts up to the former City of Woburn landfill. So we are asking now, and have filed a subsequent petition, to move the entire tank to the front of the lot. It involves some extra expense, some extra hardship. We had originally proposed that it be at the far corner, since most of the fuel supply plumbing was right in that area. And now it all has to be done. The parking lot will have to be trenched. There'll be a ground disturbance, fill, and repaving, but we can move it to the front, and we're informed that the ground conditions there are and have to be much better than at the southeasterly corner, asking for the variance from 20 feet to 5 feet. It's a front yard, and it's well out of the way of traffic, well out of the way of parking, and that's really what needs to be done in a suitable location. Any questions?
You, if I had the aerial, I've misplaced it.
Show
I
you
have a
right here.
vague memory of it being in the back corner and discussions of other locations.
Back corner.
And is it going to be near the entrance to the parking area?
It's going to be to the left of the entrance, the traveled way. It's going to be out of the traveled way. The original proposal was to base it at the southeasterly corner, and that was really some minimal clearance for the 14-foot turn around the edge of the building. This is far away from the building. It's actually up at the very front, and actually abuts the Paper Street, Kensington Avenue.
Any questions from any other?
Am I understanding it's fully underground?
Yes, it's going to be wholly underground.
Will cars and trucks be driving over it?
No,
No,
no.
okay,
It's
'cause
going to
it's
be
far
far
enough
enough
over.
away. That was one of the problems, to get it further away in the original proposal, so the cars would not drive over it. And it was, had to be right so close to the edge of the property that we find it's all just garbage under there.
And
there's-
has this side been you know that this side, or fingers crossed?
Fingers crossed, but we haven't got the slippage problems. And if it's a problem up there, it's a matter of, you could excavate it further and provide some better fill.
And it's still going to have the bollards
Yes.
above ground?
Yes, it was going to be bollards. They were shown on the plan file with the application. There's not active transit traffic up there. It's now right at the edge of the parking lot. The difficulty with the prior proposal was it was in a traveled way around the back of the building, and we're nowhere near that.
Is there anyone in the audience who cares to be heard in connection with this request for a variance at 3R Breed Avenue? So, I probably voted against this last time,
However, my advocacy,
but I feel a little bit vindicated because I'm pretty sure I asked you, isn't there any place else on this lot that this can go?
we were trying to economize the effort, and as I said, it was a matter of moving these tanks from one side of the property
Oh,
line to the other,
understood.
where there was existing supply. It's considerably.
Sure. My point is, this hopefully will pleasantly surprise you. When the board, the board voted to grant you a variance, and I would view this as simply, honestly, an amendment of the variance that was already granted, and I will actually vote in favor of it this time. So, but I don't know what the rest of the
Due to
board
the
wants to do.
soil condition aspect of this?
Yeah.
My advocacy in this, this particular petition would be essentially the same, that there's no special conditions here. We have special conditions due to the lot size, 56% coverage with an existing building, would make it very unique, and
How does the board wish to proceed?
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the variance.
All in favor? All right. As you know, a decision needs to be prepared and filed.
thank you.
Good luck.
As I said, I was at odds. I really don't know, after all of the years I've done this, I really don't know how to go about amending an existing. And since there was enough distinctive difference, we filed a new one.
The next item on the agenda Oh, sure. You're welcome. Good to see you.
You want the fan on above you?
It's muggy in here.
Good topic.
I could hear them, I couldn't hear him. So
No worries.
No worries, Gordon, thank you.
that was a 5-0 vote on that previous.
Correct. All right. The next item on our agenda is the petition of Commonwealth Realty Foundation LLC, in connection with the variance at property known as 0 Marcy Street, seeking a reduction of the front yard setback and rear yard setback. Feel like I should say welcome back to you, too.
Thank you, and thank you so much for having me. My name is Michael Levane. I'm an architect with Cummings Properties. With me this evening is Stephen Rebello. He's corporate counsel, also with Cummings Properties. We're both here representing Commonwealth Realty Foundation on behalf of the Cummings Foundation. Again, thank you for having us. I understand and appreciate the effort that goes into this, and I will try to keep this brief, but I might not. As you may recall, we were here in April of 2024 seeking a variance to create from these 4 lots shown up here, 2 lots, with the intention of building a single-family home on Lot 1 and giving, and deeding Lot 2 to the city. So, why are we back here today? This plan here was included in the variance application. What we'd like to do is get some relief from the front yard setback from 25 feet requirement to 20 feet, and then the rear yard setback from 30 feet to 25 feet. Again, nothing has changed since the last time we were here before this board in April of 2024. We still seek to construct a single-family home in a single-family zoning district. I will try to do a very brief history of were they sawing over there? We're doing construction? It's all right. I'll try to talk louder. Very brief, and I'll even cut the brief notes that I had. Hey, as this process moved forward, again, we've been working on this since 2023 or so. As this process moved forward, we learned from really the neighbors, engaging with the neighbors, that they didn't object so much to having a new home in their neighborhood. What they didn't want to lose was the buffer that existed between the residential neighborhood and the commercial district to the east. So collectively, we, the applicant and the neighbors, made accommodations to preserve that buffer. Let me go to the next one. Okay. So, where did that happen? Okay. So the city council, since the last time we were here, let me go back, hold on. The city council approved the proposed land donation on Lot 2. The planning board approved the plan, the subdivision plan, and in March of 2025, we received from this board the zoning decision to allow us to have a non-zoning compliant lot. This was supposed to be 12,000 square feet. For the reasons that I just stated, I'll work with the neighbors and the collective goal to kind of get a single-family house in a single-family neighborhood. This board granted us a variance from the size. All the documents associated with the land donation and the preservation of the vegetated buffer on the east end of Marcy Street have been approved by the city and by the affected neighbors. So we'll move on to the hardship component of this. Oftentimes the chair is usually the first one to ask what's the hardship here, right? So part of the hardship here was when I came here yesterday and ran this, I couldn't read any of this, so I blew it up. I came back here and blew it up. Hope everybody can read this. So the first threshold requirement for this board to grant a variance is that such permit granting authority shall specifically find that owing to the circumstances related to soil conditions, comma, shape, comma, or topography of such land or structures. So this lot right now as it exists this is the existing lot here. It's 77 and a half feet deep. It would make the argument that the shape of the lot is what begins to constitute the hardship here. This lot was subdivided, these lots were all subdivided in 1894. And I'll show you that more on that later. It was 29 years before the first Woburn zoning ordinance became effective in 1925, and 130 years ago from today. I believe this interpretation of ours, that the shape of the lot at least opens the door to have a conversation about meeting the first threshold, as again, it relates to the shape. So the second threshold here is and.
It's a perfect rectangle. I mean, you don't get a more perfect shape than that.
But, okay. It's still,
not a
shaped,
pork
though.
chop
I'm
shaped
gonna
lot.
continue to go, but that doesn't say it has to be, right? It just says shape. It just says shape there.
Starting there.
Fair? It says shape, thank you. So, the second part of this is, okay, so we'll go back to the MGL, Chapter 40A, Section 10 for the second threshold. How is the land affected, but not the general zoning district? So again, I'm gonna go back to what I just showed you before. This is the lot. Right now, if we apply the setbacks here, the two setbacks that are required, the rear yard setback and the front yard setback, based on the 77 and a half feet, you have 22 and a half feet of buildable area, okay, a depth of 22 and a half feet. Just, again, this is nothing other than an illustration. In the zoning as it's written today, you have to have 12,000 square feet. You have to have 100 square of frontage. So if you took a lot that was 100 by 120, by comparison, you'd have 65 feet of buildable area there. You have 22 and a half feet of buildable area right now. I mentioned before, this land was subdivided, and I'm sorry I didn't make this any bigger, but this, you can see up here it says 1894. And this is a couple of interesting things about here. So there were two sheets that went with this. This is the first sheet of the two, and the next sheet has our neighborhood. But interestingly enough about here, at the same time that they did our lots, they did some lots on Washington Street. Actually, this is now between C and B Street. This is all part of the cemetery now. But those lots, and it's tough to see, I'm sorry, are 102 feet deep. Ours on the next page, so this is the 4 blocks that was created at the same time, 1894, in the area that we are. The green is the lot that we're talking about right now. And all of these 4 lots, all were made with 77 and a half feet of depth. So again, you get back to that 77 and a half feet minus 25 minus 30. I'm at 22 and a half feet of lot depth to build something there. For reference, these are the same southernmost lots. Again, here's our lot, and I've shared this one with you folks, I think the last time I was here. This kind of illustrates some of the lots that are, the 2 southernmost lots that I just showed you here. And basically, 1, 2, 3, 4, so there's 5 buildings here now. 3 of them have nonconformities regarding setback, either front yard or rear yard setback. Next, this is a screenshot of the Woburn GIS showing the 2 northernmost blocks created in that 1894 plan that I showed you previously. It's interesting to see how, you go back here, you know, these are all nice little rectangles as we spoke about. Remember that nice square we spoke about before? These, you go look at it now. Well, there's maybe one lot here that still exists from that day. And while, again, it's interesting, right? Looks like we lost Sherman Street here. Might be gone forever. Again, this is not a surveyed plot plan, right? Obviously not a surveyed plan. But I might be able to make the argument that, well, that house doesn't meet the setbacks, that doesn't meet the setbacks, that doesn't meet the setbacks, that one. Again, this is all trying to get to the point that, as this is the last undeveloped lot in this little block, considering the current zoning, the lot shape, as it is today, as it was created in 1894, is a unique situation, really only affecting this general area, not the zoning district, affecting this lot. Right? All these other lots have been modified. This is the last lot, really the last buildable lot out of those 4 blocks that has that 77 and a half foot threshold, and when you 77 and a half foot depth, and when you apply it to today's zoning, it's definitely a challenge. So, as I mentioned, hey, I think it's the shape of the lot that gets us to the first threshold. Again, the depth, that's a challenge to develop the lot under the current zoning restrictions. So, we talked about the first threshold, the shape, the second threshold, the uniqueness to the lot, and not necessarily rampant among the zoning district. It gets to the third threshold, which is the hardship. A hardship, right? That's the question that we talk about here. So little enforcement of this hardship creates a hardship as, us to be able to construct, or somebody be able to construct a modern single-family dwelling on this residential lot, residentially zoned lot, is at the very least impractical, and it's a challenge. It needs to be a little deeper. So the hardship, whether it's financial or otherwise, is present. This lot might very well be unusable in perpetuity unless the zoning changes or something else happens. But right now, to build a home there is a challenge. And that this lot is unique, so I think that gets us to that's the third one, financial hardship. It's a unique lot, as we've shown. Many of the other lots in the area created at the same time in 1884 appear to have setback encroachments. So that leads us to the fourth threshold of how this board can theoretically grant a variance for this. The question then becomes, is the relief that we're asking for, could it be granted without substantial, I think we used that word earlier, substantial detriment to the public good without nullifying or substantially derogating from the intent or the purpose of the zoning ordinance or the bylaw? I guess I'd make the argument that this is a residential district, and we'd like to put a reasonable residential home in this residential district. I don't think that granting some relief from the front and rear yard setback here will substantially nullify or derogate the intent of the zoning or be a detriment to the public good or the neighbors. So again, I think I'm trying to keep this quick. That said, I would request that the board consider granting relief from the front and rear yard setbacks in this case.
Can you remind me what variances have already been granted for this lot?
There's been one variance granted for this, and that was to reduce the size from 12,000 down from 12,000 to 8370, which it is now.
Okay.
And again, that was the intent, so that we could build a house here.
Throughout that process, wasn't there a kind of prototypical footprint of the house that was going to be, that was envisioned to be constructed on this undersized lot?
It wasn't necessarily a prototypical house. It was, we had put a box around the buildable area, yes.
Right. So,
If I may.
Yeah, please.
You originally came in 2023 for a variance, and was a leave to withdraw without prejudice, correct?
Correct.
Then you came back, and we worked it out with the neighbors that Lot 2 would be given to the city as a buffer, so the neighbors don't have to stare at the building next door.
Yes.
Part of that, I asked you in the February 21st, 2024 meeting, is that what's going to be built there going to meet all the other dimensional requirements in the lot? And you said it would. You said that, as an architect, I quote, "I think I can even figure out how to do it in 22 feet." We are not asking for any additional relief. That's the way it was in February 21st, 2024. I kind of base that on my vote to work with that compromise for that Lot 2 to go away, just thinking you put a house in there and you'd be gone. But obviously, you're back again. Back in February 21st, 2024, you said you're going to put a modest house in there.
Yep.
And this could be a modest house, too.
It very well could be.
It just seems like, I don't want to say you're going back on your word, you're not.
No, that's fair.
It's just, I went back and watched the meeting back then. I watched the exchange between you and I. And that's why I voted for that compromise. But,
So I would love to address that.
yeah, go
Thank
right
you.
ahead, absolutely.
Thank you. And I don't disagree with you. Listen, I think as an architect, we probably could be super creative, right? I guess. The fact of the matter is, since we got this all approved and we got this all buttoned up back in April, ultimately, we weren't really going to build the house. I mean, like Cummings Properties or the owner wasn't going to necessarily build the house. We decided, okay, let's go see if we can market this in. It's not in our strike zone, right? We're commercial developers, not necessarily residential developers. So we put it out to market, and we found somebody that was willing to purchase the land. But after seeing the 22 and a half feet, asked, hey, this is going to make sense, but really to build a modern conventional home on this lot, we need a little more room. Similar to what I, you're right, I withdrew it back in the day. The first time I was here, we started with that because I thought this could be a problem. I was hoping that we could get to that without it, but again, the proponent wants to sell the property, and in an effort to do that, we need some more space. We need a few more feet.
I mean, technically, I guess we don't have to see elevation drawings, but what are those jogs in the, why are they, why do you need to go the extra 4 feet, 4.5 towards the rear? Just the,
Yeah, no, I hear
they
you.
have
So,
two wings that are,
again, so you kind of add it up. So I suspect this, and this is kind of a footprint that we got from, like I said, a potential purchaser of the land, a developer. 24 by 24, and this is what I mentioned last time too. And this is going to be a garage, right? So there's a driveway kind of coming here. We're going to extend Marcy Street 27 feet, so this will be a driveway. So a conventional size for a garage is like 24 by 24 at the minimum, so you can get a couple of cars in there. Again, this is what the industry's building nowadays. This 40 foot, so you get 24 feet, 40 feet, which would be kind of the box of the house, and maybe on the side a little sunroom or some family room, right? So you add it all up, and I think I said this last time too, is that you add all these up, but if they all have to be flush like that, it's gonna look awful as an architect. So and that was vindicated when we had somebody that was interested in buying it and said, hey, this is what I'd like to build. This is really what. This is what the market's asking for. This is the conventional home that I'd like to build on this lot. Not 22 and a half feet, but something a little bigger. So, but you know what? We'll come back and we'll ask the board. I don't disagree that we had that conversation and totally appreciate it. And here we are a year and a half later, and we got a little more input. So.
Oh, I mean, you said here, reasonable home, modern home. That's kind of a open-ended in a sense. I mean, what I consider a reasonable home might be something different.
Fair.
And it has to have a two-car garage, I guess.
I don't know how many bathrooms it's going to have, but.
Not going to have 6.5 bathrooms,
Okay.
I don't suspect. And I suspect it won't be deemed a McMansion either. I mean, this is a small lot, so it is restricted by, how much square footage you can put on there or lot coverage you can have. It's 25% or something like that. So it's going to be it's not going to be much different than the house directly across the street or around the corner on 28 Albany Street that were built about 20 years ago. It's going to be a colonial home with a two-car garage. Kind of a standard home that's being built now.
And has Lot 2 been deeded yet to the city?
So good question. None of this has been executed. So
Okay.
in April, when we got all these things put together and we started engaging people, okay, let's see if we can sell it. And when we got some input, we said, okay, I want to go get a variance. We decided that we were going to come back and ask this board. So we haven't executed any of it yet. So it's been recorded, but it just hasn't been, we haven't given the land to the city yet. All the paperwork's done, just a matter of executing it.
Right, executing meaning doing it as opposed to
Yep.
signing something.
Yep, recording it basically.
Recording it has not
Yep.
been done.
It has not been recorded.
I had just a quick question. Do you envision that being a single family or two family?
Single family.
Is that
Absolutely.
something that would be agreed upon as a condition?
Absolutely. I mean, alternatively, right?
Is it even in a R2 zone? It's in an R2. Oh, okay.
So yes, it would be a single family. And it's a condition that would be accepted for sure.
Is there anyone in the audience who cares to be heard in connection with this request for a variance at 0 Marcy Street? We have, we did have a letter submitted from last month that
Yes.
How does the board wish to proceed?
Did the petitioner see that letter?
Yeah, I have the letter right here.
Okay.
I just wanted to briefly look at that letter again, but do you know the address of that? Oh, thank you.
The person that wrote this letter,
Yeah.
28 Albany. So that'd be the house, right here. I'm sorry if I blasted that in your eyes. That'd be the lot around the corner from here.
Excuse me, there's always that term McMansion, it's kind of nebulous, but, you know, I would feel a lot better about this if I had an idea of what size house was being proposed in there. It's just so open-ended right now.
I think I'd be comfortable to say, I'm sorry, hold on. Oh, I'm sorry, it's at the beginning. That's probably close to what it would be. I'd be happy if you said
I
that.
can't see that far, but
Okay.
how...
I'd be comfortable if you said it wasn't going to be any bigger than what was attached to the, application.
I may ask through the chair, are you asking for like architectural drawings, elevation drawings, those type of things?
Well, that'd be...
Just to see what the house is gonna,
That would be ideal, but I know we're not that far.
Yeah, they're not required for the variance.
But again, if that was something that...
Three-story, two-story,
Cellar or basement?
I'm probably going to say cellar because it's a flat lot, and you're going to have a drive up. It's very interesting about that, though. Woburn has a very, very, very generous height. That's not measured to the ridge, it's measured to the median, yeah? Oh,
Yeah.
as somebody who knows these
Someone
things.
might want to pay attention to that.
Yeah, no, you know, maybe I can't say that they're not going to finish, somebody 10 years down the road is going to finish the cellar, but
Right.
I envision this being dropped in the ground, not super high.
Yeah, but, so, right, no offense, we can't rely on that, because,
No, fair enough. Yep, no, I hear you. But this otherwise, this footprint otherwise, is a pretty representation of what somebody's looking to do. That's where I got it from.
so I cannot support this. This is like the classic example of a self-created hardship. You asked for an undersized lot, the city bent over backwards and gave you what you asked for, and you gave away the property that would have enabled,
It wouldn't have changed this dimension, it wouldn't have changed this discussion, and it wouldn't have changed that dimension. At 22 and a half feet, as you recall, this is a conversation we've had in the past. So I appreciate what you're saying. As far as self-created, it was self-created to appease the neighbors, right? So ultimately, if this gets approved, we're going to get all this buffer given to the city, all the buffer on Marcy Street surviving. None of the neighbors here to say that they're opposed to this. They're going to get ultimately exactly what they want and what we've been working for 2.5 years. So I think, I hear you, and you know, I'm not going to argue with the law with you because I would lose. But I think I've given you every reason to agree that all four of those all four of the thresholds have a legitimate response. And I get it. Shape is shape, but shape isn't defined anywhere else, and neither is self-created.
yeah, but it's an undersized lot, and so you're stuck like, you know.
You're right,
it's-
we're
it's
limited.
That undersized
Yep.
lot.
Fair enough.
But again, I'm just one person, so, and
Just
I
on that.
routinely get outvoted.
On that, you said if it is approved, so if this is not approved tonight, then the deal from last year is kaput? Is that what you're saying?
It's a good pickup. I don't know. I mean, if this isn't approved, I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back and have a conversation with the owner and say, okay, what do we want to do here? That's all. I mean, I would say, you know, we're not gonna change the buffer. We're never in the position, we're not gonna take that down. We built the buffer, other than the piece on Marcy Street. All the woods on
Yeah, but
Marcy
you were
Street.
still handcuffed 2 years ago in 2023. I mean,
No, I hear you. And here we are, we're trying to sell the lot so that we're not developing it. And this is the input we got from somebody who would like to build a single-family house there. Hey, can I have it a little bigger? So I hear you. I can't argue with our conversation from a year and a half ago, but I'm suggesting that things have changed. The buffer's never going to go away because it's not in our interest either. Last thing we want ever is for people to say, oh, yeah, we Cummings cut down the trees. It's not going to happen. So the buffer's always going to stay there. And we've made every effort to preserve the buffer and appease the neighbors. And again, we're just seeking some relief so that we can build a house there. That's what ultimately that's what it's for. It's a residential lot in a residential neighborhood. We'd like to be able to put a home there. That works for the developer and works for us and everybody. Now, if somebody gets a nice single-family home.
Could you just very briefly explain, if memory serves, that buffer area, were you going to do some plantings there? Some type of shrubs or trees or something?
Up in here,
Yeah.
so that is all filled with a nice, beautiful row of white pines that exist now that are columnar white pines.
Okay, and they're going to
Fence
stay
there.
there?
They're
but
gonna stay there.
Okay, I thought there was some additional planting, just to help with the buffer or the noise.
The buffer is pretty nice now, actually.
Okay, all right.
Pretty solid.
When you're referring to the buffer, is that lot 2?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, just want to make sure I'm on the right page.
If you'd like, I can show you pictures of the buffer that exist. They're way back on the back, though. I just have a whole bunch of other stuff here. So there's the buffer right now. And again, no matter what happens here, we have no intention of taking that down. But we'd like to just be able to provide the person who would like to buy the lot with the product that he wants. Again, I think I met the four. I think we're close. Have met the four conditions, the four thresholds.
How far along in the plans is this prospective builder?
That I don't know. That I don't.
He-
I mean, I would say, as somebody who does this kind of stuff, probably, hey, he gave me a concept. This is what he thinks he wants to do, and after that, why invest any money into something that you don't know if you're going to get?
But we have a lot of people that are, coming in, putting, 10 pounds a house on a 2.5-pound lot, They want 5 bedrooms, they want 5 bathrooms. I mean, that is not the character of that neighborhood.
I would suggest that it's probably not, and you can't see it back here, but this house on 2 Marcy Street is pretty big. The house on, let me just go back a bunch. Hold on a second, please. Let me go back to, get to another one. Oh, here we go. I don't think it's gonna, this house is pretty long. This house is pretty long. This house is pretty, these are pretty big houses, these three here. Again, I see it kind of fitting right in with those right in there. We go back to, that. Again, guess I wish I had put it on here, but again, it's going to fit within the side yard setbacks, so it's not going to be, we're not seeking any relief from there. It's just a little bit in the back and a little bit in the front. And again, if you go back to what I mentioned here before, this is no different than every other house in the neighborhood almost. I mean, I know this house has been here probably since 1925 or before, but it has front yard setback encroachment. This has front yard setback. This has front yard setback. It's not like,
It didn't at the time they were built, though, that's why, so.
but I'm just proving that it's not detrimental to the neighborhood because no one's leaving because it's too close to the street.
Right, but again, the standard for a variance is different, and so we need to find there's circumstances
Yep.
of
And
the lot.
the shape of these, the fact that these lots were developed and some of the houses here were built in 1894 before there was any zoning, it really handcuffs it. I guess the question is, alternatively, there's really not much you're going to do here. It's just going to be a vacant lot. And
Or
again,
someone builds a little cape.
even a cape is 28 feet deep. 22 and a half feet just isn't enough.
Well, out of the, we again have to go back. They were the planning board that worked on this. We had 3 or 4 meetings ourselves on this. City councilor probably was involved and talking to the neighbors, and there were a lot of people, city solicitor. But in that spirit, I would vote for that. But I want to just let you know that it just irked me, as a architect, I think I can figure it out how to. So I don't want you to come back here again and say, now we need a fence, or after you sell it, you can tell whoever buys it that my chances of voting for another variance on this lot are slim to none.
I appreciate that. No.
But tonight, out of the spirit of you working with all the city agencies and everything, I'm willing to do this
Motion?
last time. So I'll make a motion to approve the variance.
I would second it on the condition that it be limited to a single-family home and not exceed the dimensions you've submitted tonight. Mainly because, first of all, I buy the argument that it's not detrimental to the neighborhood, given the surrounding lots and given the housing shortage. I would be in favor.
And I'll second those conditions, but I just wanted to add too, I don't know if you have the votes for this, so if it gets shot down, would you be better off to leave the withdrawal like you did in 2023 or something like that? But I just so you know.
I feel like I'd love to know. Seems like 2 people are good. I don't know. Love to hear from the other 2 and their thoughts, and if they have any questions or.
I think I've asked my questions and just the same concern about, the size of the home that's gonna go on it. Yes, we need housing, there's no doubt in my mind on that, but we don't need oversized homes on small lots. I see that 2 Marcy Street is a pretty substantial home. I guess I just too wanna make sure that the city of Woburn is getting that buffer. I don't know why that hasn't happened. I feel like this has been now conditional in the sense that unless you get this, you're going to give it to them.
And that's fair, and I totally appreciate and can see that.
Yeah,
Don't disagree with you.
yeah.
Again, the city will have to get the buffer because we won't get a building, no one will get a building permit for
Yeah.
that to happen. So there's a lot of steps that have to go on after this, so that will happen.
No, I would agree with Member Parrish. I mean, I have some reservations, but I see this as all part of a piece. I think the Lot 2 piece and the buffer was very important, and the closing off of Henshaw Street as an access road was very important. So I think that, in a sense, that Lot 2, in a sense, even though it is part of the whole piece, it's not really, I do, have reservations about the size of the houses that are being built, density, and, like you say, it's not just the size of the square footage. I mean, something built in 1924, they probably had like 1 bathroom in the whole house. Something built now in the same square footage is going to have 5 bathrooms. It's a different kind of, so to me, the character of the neighborhood is important, but, I think in terms of the whole picture of what is in the best interest of the city and the general neighborhood closing that off, that was my biggest concern, was that there was going to be an open road there to Henshaw Street and a cut-through. The traffic over there is very bad.
Were there also like some conditions, sorry to keep adding to this, but like an electrical light at the end and then the electricity had to be underground? Is that all gonna be,
So all those conditions that were part of the planning board review,
still exist? Okay.
yeah. And again, when this gets sold and the person goes to submit the permit, he's gonna have to bring all those documents in there, and the building department will go through that and say, yep, building department, city engineer, DPW director, so it'll all get picked up.
Get a motion.
Has it been seconded?
With conditions.
Okay, all in favor of the pending motion? Opposed? That passes 4-1.
All you folks have put into it, and
All right, good luck. The next item on our agenda is the petition of James Simpson seeking a special permit for an addition at 16 Chester Avenue. Hi, if you could just give us a minute. All right, welcome.
Thank you. Long time listener, first time caller.
I like that. Thank you. I appreciate the levity. All right, so I've made a mess of those various piles of paper here on my desk, so can you give me an overview?
Yep, I live at 16 Chester Ave, bought the house in 2001. We're just looking to add a room in our backyard that's existing with the current housing line. I don't know the proper terminology, but just looking to add one room on a first
Okay,
floor.
I remember this now.
Yep.
So it's an addition on the back?
Correct, in the
right?
backyard,
Onto the
correct.
back, comprised of, it's like, you go through the dining room to a hallway, there's a bathroom, and then a bedroom at the end?
Correct, you got it, yep.
And is there any, is it single story?
Yeah, it'd just be one floor. The addition would just be one room, one floor.
All right, I just have this, sorry.
That's okay.
Is there anything with the dormer?
There's a dormer going in the attic, correct.
Okay, so it's the addition and the dormer.
Correct, yes. I think the reason I'm here is because of the room in the back, right? Okay.
All right, let me just, I make notes on the plan, so let me just see if
Sure.
anything's circled for follow-up.
Your house, take your time.
Can I ask?
Go ahead, go, yeah.
So while she's looking up, so you're just adding one bedroom, that's it? Not a bathroom?
No, yeah, so off the dining room, we're adding, there's like my bulkhead's there, so I'm gonna add a bathroom there. And then from there is is a bedroom. In the existing plan, right next to where that new room, the new bathroom be, is another bathroom right there. It's just, we're connecting the plumbing there.
Okay,
We're not adding people, it's just, right now, it's my wife and 3 kids.
Sure.
We only have 2 bedrooms, so we're just looking to add some space, so when we get older, we have a first floor accommodations. Thank you.
Got a question. So this is, I see, an R2 district, right? And I think you just mentioned that just you and just your family's living there.
Correct.
What we see sometimes is this, well, maybe I'll be on this board another 10 years or so, but then you see an addition like this, and now we want to go up to the second floor, and we want to do, but I don't see you doing it here. But you're going to keep this as an like a single family, even though you're in the R2 district?
Correct, single family, yep. Basically, because of the current situation where we only have the 2 bedrooms, 3 kids, I just want to have a place so where my kids, they can graduate in college, whatever, and as we all know, housing is very expensive, so I just want to have them a place they can always come to.
And are you doing it where you're asking to do it mostly just because of plumbing and tapping into that bathroom instead of like shifting it over? I mean, you have a large lot.
Yeah, the other side is where my patio is, and every morning I'm out there, and we spend a lot of time out there, so I don't want to ruin that. And also on that side, my kitchen is on that side of the house, so I would lose a window, and I don't particularly want to do that as well.
Okay, so I remembered my question because it's on the plot plan, not the building drawings. So my concern here is that this proposed addition is 2 feet from your lot line. And your neighbor, actually, I'm not sure whose fences it is, but I'm always very concerned when there's a large addition put really close to a lot line. Because you could put up a fence, your neighbor could put up a fence, and now we have a situation where you have, I don't even know what the existing footprint is, but you have at least 50 feet of house on that side and 2 feet. So if you ever have an emergent situation in that house, firefighters aren't going to be able to fight a fire with, right, 2 feet of space. Whose fence is that your fence? There's a wooden fence on this.
It's actually where the house would go right now, there actually is no fence right now.
Right, but, you know, maybe your neighbor doesn't want to see this new
Yeah.
addition, and, you know, right?
My neighbor's right here.
Right. And he moves next year, and the new owner's like, I need a 6-foot fence here because I want my privacy.
Yeah.
So that was my notation. And I'm a little confused about, I can't tell. I assume you need the special permit for the dormer too, because you're an undersized lot and, you know, so you have a pre-existing non-conforming dwelling. And the dormer is completely separate from the addition, correct?
It's separate from the what?
The addition.
I don't know what that means.
The dormer, you're doing a dormer up,
The dormer's gonna go closer to the street side, if that helps. In the
yeah,
attic.
it's up at,
There might be,
Chester Ave?
Chester Ave, there might be a picture in there of a neighbor 2 houses down who has a very similar.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm just trying to, so the plot plan highlights the proposed addition. The building plans reflect the dormer, the shed dormer. Typically, there would be some reflection on the plot plan that you also are seeking relief for a shed dormer on the existing dwelling, right? Because the shed dormer is going to go on the existing dwelling?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I don't know if that's supposed to be reflected on the plan. It's typically, so typically there would be, you know how you have the shaded area for the proposed addition? Typically, we would also see the shaded area on the existing dwelling showing where the dormer's going to go.
That's not in the drawings? Sir?
It's in these construction plans.
Okay.
But it's not on the plot plan. Am I making that up, or is that when we typically see it?
I think when it comes to the plot plan, you're still not getting any closer to the side.
Oh, yeah, no, I understood, yeah.
See it makes it a 3-story building. Scratch that.
Yeah. Let me ask, is there anyone in the audience who cares to be heard in connection with this request for a special permit at 16 Chester Avenue? How does the board wish to proceed?
I'll make a motion to approve the special permit based on the drawings CT this evening.
Second.
All in favor of the pending motion?
Aye.
A decision needs to be prepared. For the clerk's office, no building permit will issue until the appeal period runs without anyone challenging the special permit, okay?
So what does that mean?
That means you're not going to get a building permit for a number of weeks. And if someone challenges, if someone files an appeal and says, oh, the board screwed up in issuing that special permit, you won't get a permit for a while. You'll have to
If something,
if someone
okay.
challenges it. Yep.
does
Yeah,
that
so it's a
mean-
20-day appeal period.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
no permit's going to issue
Within the
until that
20
appeal period
Okay.
runs without an appeal being filed.
Okay,
Okay?
great.
All right.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Mr. Simpson, if you have any questions, you can reach out to me, sir.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, the next item on our agenda is the petition of Leslie Amos and James Mirko, 3 Jones Avenue, in connection with the request for a variance at that address. Hi, welcome.
Hello. Good evening, Madam Chair. Appreciate your time tonight. My name is Leslie Amos, and together with my husband, James Mirko, we are seeking a variance for a fence higher than 3 feet within the 25-foot front yard setbacks at 3 Jones Ave.
All right, and we have, you submitted a plot plan showing the location of the proposed, the 2 sections of the proposed fence, and then we have another version of the plot plan that highlights it so that we recognize that the fence, there is an existing fence along one of your lot lines separating you from your neighbor.
So we are seeking a variance due to the shape and placement of the house on the lot. As you can see, it's a triangular corner-shaped lot. The lot size is already non-conforming. It's about 5,200 square feet. And the home itself is about 100 years old, was built in 1924, and the lot was subdivided prior to the current zoning restrictions. So we're seeking to build a 6-foot vinyl fence with, above 3 feet due to safety concerns. There's a lot of coyotes in our neighborhood, and we have a dog and are expecting a child soon. So safety concerns is one. And then if we were to have a fence sort of within the setback restrictions, it would just there would just be no yard left. So from our lot lines to the, requirements under the current code, there would just be effectively a 3-foot yard, which would affect our property appeal and usability. So we believe that this creates substantial hardship that is unique to this property in the shape of the lot. We also believe that the variance will not cause a substantial detriment to the neighborhood or undermine, the intent of the zoning ordinance. Even with the variance, we've measured from where the street currently is to where the proposed fence would be. It's about 16 feet on the north side and 10 feet on the south side from where the road currently is. So there's still a bit of a buffer there. And then due to the lot angle and the house placement, the fence is going behind our house, so it's not impacting any sight lines, it's not impacting any intersection. The house would impact the intersection more than the proposed fence. We also have, our immediate neighbors have expressed no objection, and we have, a signed statement of community support.
All right, so you want a 6-foot fence on your property line?
Yes.
And do you have a driveway, or you just park on the city's right-of-way?
It's kind of like a weird driveway. It's like not an official driveway. It's paved, but it's kind of like on,
It's like a horizontal driveway along the road, essentially,
Yeah.
instead of.
Yeah, but it looks like it's essentially you park in the city right-of-way.
yes, yeah.
So if the city ever puts a sidewalk in there, I guess you would just park on the street all the time. 'cause-
Yes. Yeah, right now there's a bit of elevation between, like, where we park in the driveway and our yard, so, like, we couldn't even put a driveway there anyway.
Talking about where that shed is?
There is not a shed there anymore. There's not a, like, I think the, like, the current satellite images are old. There's not a shed there anymore. There's a concrete, like, the shed has been taken down and there's like a concrete patio, but there's not a shed there anymore.
When you bought it, was there a shed though?
No. Well, there was, but they took it down. It was, yeah.
Chair, I've got a couple of questions. So this, could you tell me what the fence is going to look like?
Yeah, so it's a 6-foot vinyl, I can't remember what they call it, but
Is it wood like this color? Is it
no, it would
straight
be
white?
sort of white, but we're open to amending that.
One of the things I say, you know, imagine the ambiance of the neighborhood when you put a 6-foot fence there, and then your friends over here now want to do it as well. These people at 32 want to do it.
Yeah.
So you drive in your neighborhood, you see nothing but white 6-foot.
Yeah, I will say there are a lot of white vinyl fences already in the neighborhood. There are several, like, for example, at 8 Jones Ave, there's a vinyl fence, like, right along there. There's quite a few vinyl fences.
They 6 feet?
So they might have been,
Grandfathered
Grandfathered
since
in.
1985.
yeah.
And another thing too, on Google Maps, I saw one of the sides of you had a chain link fence there. What happened to that?
That fence, it's no longer there. So, like, they took that down before they even sold the
Yeah,
house.
we never, like, when we took a look, you know, when we did the tour of the house before we bought it, that fence was never there. But we have looked at Google Maps and seen it's, like,
Yeah.
I mean, how old the pictures are, and there's all this other stuff there.
I mean, I didn't have the time to drive up by there, but, you know, like Google Maps.
Yeah, and I believe actually we can see, like, the remnants of that fence. That fence was outside the property lines.
You have, usually when these eyesores go up, as I call them, we ask that the petitioner plant shrubbery along the,
Yeah.
so when your neighbor that comes out of 32 across the street there, number 4, they don't see a gigantic
Yeah, yeah. So
white
we,
eyesore.
yeah, so we already have a lilac tree, like, right along one of the lines in the fence, and then we have, like, arbor vitae along sort of East Dexter Avenue that hides, like, the majority of the fence, but we're
Yeah,
happy to
those were in the
install
Google, I
more.
was gonna ask you, those are still growing.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
But that just stops at they don't go they wouldn't go the length of that section of your.
That's correct, yeah.
I don't have the Google Maps image, but I'm looking at the city assessors, and it looks like your neighbor has a row of shrubs in the city's right-of-way. The arborvitaes that you planted, are those on your property, or are they on the city's property?
They're on the city's property. They were there when we moved in.
I wonder if they were planted there for a reason. for some-
What's confusing to me is that this grass area here, okay, I'm looking at one of your front doors, I guess. So
Yeah.
you have this, like, low brick kind of,
Yes.
All right, could you, what page you're looking at so that I can know? Does it?
3 out of 7,
Thank you.
3 out of 7, okay. So, is this grass area between the street and whatever that barrier is that city property?
Yes, part of the grass is city property. There's a I think if I'm looking at the right one,
Yeah,
is it?
because
Page 3 of
your
7.
car is, or car is
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so that grass, I think for the most part is city property. I'm not, we have the surveyor who didn't mark like that exact area, but where that kind of small retaining wall is, I believe is right near the border.
And the fence wouldn't be going there.
Yeah, the fence wouldn't be going there. The fence would be going behind, in that same photo, behind the lilac tree
Yeah,
that you
in
can
the
see.
back. So it wouldn't be going out to the intersection where it, meets a point.
Is the fence the yellow marked off area that,
Yes, yeah.
so everything that's yellow is going to be a 6-foot fence as you propose it?
Yeah, I think
I'm
so.
sorry,
If
Nina.
I'm looking at the right one.
Dan, were you finished?
Yep.
So, I'm looking at that page 3 of 7 and also the yellow area. So it looks like you're proposing the fence would come out from where the, I don't know, is that a porch on the side of the house or something?
It's, yeah, there's like a little porch and there has been a historical addition that's like a bathroom kind of coming out there.
So it would come out to the property line and then run all the way down to the corner.
It would run to the neighbor's fence.
Yeah, it's in the back. It's not the part where it meets a point at the intersection. It's behind the house, meeting the neighbor's fence.
Yeah, I
How
see
big
it
is the
now.
neighbor's fence? How tall is the neighbor's?
6 feet.
Yeah.
6?
Yes. It's a wooden fence. But it's
The wooden fence is it painted white, or is it like this?
round. It's like
It's
a.
kind of
Yeah,
like
blends in
stained
with the
yellow, yeah.
surroundings?
Yeah,
It's like a stained.
Yeah.
And that's staying?
yeah,
yes.
that's stained, yep.
Yeah, so we're just connecting ours to that to create a closed-in area essentially.
And then on the other side, excuse me, how far from the corner of your house to where the fence would go?
So that would be, I believe it's like 4.6 feet. It would be along the property line, so it's like 4.6 feet. Let me pull up my,
Now, alternatively, wouldn't you be able to just move that fence into to run parallel to the house? And then you would be, wouldn't they be in their right to
yeah,
build the fence that height?
we could do that.
If it was.
Oh, no, that would still need a variance, I think, because it's,
Yeah, if they're only 4 feet, so what I understand you're suggesting is that instead of connecting the house to the proposed fence that runs along the East Dexter line, you're suggesting have the fence run from the corner of the house parallel to East Dexter, and
Yes,
have a
and parallel to the
4.6
house.
foot buffer, essentially, between the fence and the property line?
Correct.
Yeah, but that's still under the zoning code. That fence can't exceed 3 feet because it's only lot line, so they'd need the variance for that.
There's a fire hydrant on East Dexter, is that right?
correct, the fence would not cover that.
How far would it be, do you know, from?
I haven't measured,
Pretty
it would be pretty far
Yeah,
if
it's
you look at
almost
the,
half of the house, half the length of the house almost. If you can kind of look at, it's just, I don't think we have the same
yeah.
page numbers, but this one with the fire hydrant, the fence would be kind of all the way back here at the back end of the house, so there'd be quite a distance between where the fence would be and where the fire hydrant.
You're gonna have gates anywhere in this fence? I mean, how are you gonna,
Yes, yeah, we will have a front gate. I guess that's not on the plot plan, but we will have a front gate, like on the pathway to that door. Right now, it's our kitchen door. We have 2 front doors because of the lot. But we would have a gate there, and then we would have a larger gate on the side of East Dexter.
clear. Just, So as the 6-foot fence leaves Jones Ave and connects to the house, that's where your gate's gonna be? Is that what you're saying?
As, yeah, it's kind of like right behind the lilac bush. There is a pathway right now from that little sort of jut out porch, kind of angle, like parallel to the proposed fence line. Proposed fence would run right along that pathway and connect to the house.
Gate will be,
The gate would be along Jones Ave, where that pathway is currently.
picture of the pathway?
Yeah, I was just going to ask that question.
I might not have it in, I guess, in the application.
So the gate would be in front of where the car's parked?
Correct. Basically. Well, maybe a little,
Like, yeah, kind of right behind
Yes.
where the car's parked.
yes.
Like the,
Yeah, we have a pathway coming from the street to our kitchen door, and there would be a gate.
This concrete barrier type of deal here?
yes,
Will the fence be inside of that or outside of that?
inside.
Inside.
On picture 3, page 3 of 7 there, where your car is behind that, you can barely make out a fence. Is that we're gonna be your back fence? Is that a fence?
Yeah, that's
there?
the fence across the neighbor's yard, yep.
Currently,
Back fence was existing fence.
yes,
Yeah.
that's the currently existing fence.
I have a picture of the pathway on my phone. I don't know if you want to see that.
I don't know that there's any way for us to put that into the record.
No,
No, understood.
I'm finished with questions.
In your,
There is no one in the audience. I don't think there's anyone in the audience who cares to be heard in connection with this petition.
your proposed fence is behind the lilac?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
How does the board wish to proceed?
I certainly am not happy with the color of it. I wish it was like your neighbor's fence. You do have certainly a very odd-shaped lot here, which would make me vote for it. There are regrets when I have made votes on fences, especially there's one on Wynn Street that I have to look at driving out to the highway and back, but that's another story. But I just want to let you know that, your neighbors now at 32 up there, number 23, number 6, or 9, whatever that is, or 8, all these, if they ever came in front of us, I don't know, oh, you gave it to them, why don't you give it to us? But I just want to say, like I just said, that this is certainly a weird-shaped lot compared to those, so on that, I'll make a motion to approve the variance.
I would second it. I think you do have a very unique lot.
Which,
Yeah, that's a,
didn't realize that before buying, that's for sure.
yeah.
All right, is there any further discussion? All in favor of the pending motion? Opposed? So that passed 4-1. A decision needs to be prepared and filed in the city clerk's office. And no building permit will issue until after the appeal period has expired. Okay? All right, good luck.
Thank you so much. Have a great night. Thank you guys for your time.
Good luck.
All right, the next item on our agenda is review of the meeting minutes for the August 6th meeting. I think I only had one correction that I've provided to Mr. Vincent. Anybody else have any other corrections or comments to the meeting, the minutes?
I had one I can show, unless you want me to read it. I was just a little confused about one line on page 2, but I can review.
I've already turned mine in, so
I'm sorry?
I've already provided mine to.
Okay. I can review it with Gordon.
All right, and does it relate to a comment that you had made?
No. Something Mr. Vining said. He said that 15.9 feet is offset 30 feet. I just didn't really understand.
Yeah, so my memory of that was that Mr. Vining's position was that because the house was being moved further from the side lot line, the rear lot line measurement was to the far back lot line, even though there was that little jog. So I think that's what he meant when he said offset, because the house was, I don't know, forget the measurement, but
It's fine, as long as you understand what it means, it's fine.
anyway.
Motion to accept the meetings with your corrections.
Second.
All in favor?
I
I'm not aware that there's any other matter before us
Set the dates
apart
for the
from
next
Oh, yeah.
setting the date for the next 2 meetings. So,
October 15th is the third Wednesday.
for some reason, my phone's not cooperating, so I'm going to rely on you all. Oh, here we
Is it
go.
October 15th?
Is the third Wednesday of October, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
And then the third Wednesday in November is the 19th. I know.
Yep, that's fine with me. Is that good with you, Gordon? Always here.
That's not true.
Never left.
I'm fine with the 19th of November as well.
Okay. There, we have followed instructions and
Thank you.
calendared our next 2 meetings.
Should we one up and do the December? I'm just kidding.
let's go crazy.
The year's all over.
Only 15 Fridays till Christmas.
All right, so having done that, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.